Next up starts section C, up here at the header board. Right here. You want to make sure that it is secure, free from any bulges or holes. There are no loose rivets, and it can support the weight of our cargo. Up top, we have a marker light. You inspect that light the same way we inspect all of our lights. We're going to say that it's not broken, damaged, or missing. It's clean and the proper color, which is amber to the front, red to the rear. Next up is the side of our trailer. Want to make sure that our longitudinal frame rails, or upper and lower frame rails, if you can't say the big L word, are not bent or cracked. You have this one here, and you have the one up there. They're not bent or cracked. Right here, starting at the pattern of 4 rivets, start your cross members. It's the same as the tractor's frame. You don't want any bent, cracked, loose, or missing cross members. While you're under there looking at them, you look at your trailer floor, make sure there are no holes or other damages. Back over here to the side of the trailer, you have a DOT tape. You need to make sure that it's present. And all of your lights and reflectors are clean, not broken, damaged, or missing, and they are the proper color. You have an amber turn signal, marker light, and sometimes up top there is an amber clearance light, and back there we have a red reflector or a marker light. There's also another light back there that you have to talk about if it's equipped. The light will tell you what it is, because if you look on it, you can see it. It's your ABS light. You want to make sure that it's not damaged, broken, or missing, and it's the proper color. Your ABS light should always be amber in color. You want to check your support frame and your pads. Make sure they are securely mounted. They are not damaged. There are no loose or missing parts. Your landing gear should be fully raised, which means that this little top here will be all the way up against this part here. That's how you can tell it's fully raised. And your crank handle is in a locked and secured position. Onto the trailer's suspension area. We're going to inspect this suspension exactly the same way that we inspected the tractor's rear suspension. There are no differences. Spring hangers are securely mounted. They are not bent, cracked, or broken. There are no loose or missing nuts or bolts. And the bushing that is in there is not damaged or missing. Springs are not missing, shifted, or cracked. U-bolts are not bent or broken, and there are no loose or missing nuts or bolts. This trailer that we are inspecting currently does not have airbags and does not have shocks, so we are not going to mention them. But if they had them, it would be inspected the same way all airbags and shocks are inspected. So we just move on. You have a torque arm right here. Make sure that it is securely mounted and not damaged. When you have a torque arm on your trailer, you also have a torsion bar. A little hint to help you remember. You have a torque arm, which is round like your arm, and a torsion bar, which is square like a candy bar. That's the hint that helps everyone out. Okay? That is inspected the same way as the torque arm. It's included with it. Make sure it's securely mounted and not damaged. Next up, you would move on to your brake hoses and fittings. Sometimes they're like this, and sometimes they are hanging down, as is on that trailer right there. You want to make sure the hoses and fittings are secured. They are not damaged or leaking. They lead to your brake chambers. Make sure the brake chamber is securely mounted, not dented, cracked, or leaking. There are no loose or missing clamps. This one has a slack adjuster and a push rod on it again. If you go to the rear of the trailer and crouch down, you'll be able to see them. You want to make sure they are securely mounted, not bent or broken, and there are no loose or missing parts. When pulled on by hand, the push rod should not move more than 1 inch with the brakes released. We're going to move on to our brake drums and linings again. Brake drums should not be dented, cracked, and there should be no holes. The linings should not be worn too thin, and they should be free from any oil and grease. Next up is the sidewalls on our tires. We want to make sure they're free from any cuts or other damages. Our tread is worn evenly, and it has no less than 2/32 of tread depth. Bud rims, they are adequately spaced, free of any damages or debris. Our valve stem and cap are not missing, damaged, or leaking. We're going to check our tire pressure with a tire gauge to make sure it's filled to manufacturer specifications. Our rim is not bent, cracked, or illegally welded. All of our lug nuts are present and tight. There are no shiny threads or rust trails that would indicate a loose bolt, and there are no cracks around my bolt holes. Hub oil and axle seal. I want to make sure that the axle seal is not leaking. This is a sight glass, so we're going to look inside of it to make sure it's filled with adequate fluid. This is what a sight glass looks like. This is what a leaking sight glass looks like, just for a little, so y'all can see. That is what a non-leaking sight glass looks like. Alright, mud flap. Want to make sure it's securely mounted and not damaged. Onto the rear of the trailer area here, we have the door. We inspect this the same way we inspect all of our other doors. We want to make sure that it is not damaged. It opens and closes properly. This door has a latch on it, so we need to say that it latches and unlatches properly. All my hinges are secure with my seals intact. Okay? DOT tape is present. Then we need to check all of our lights yet again. Make sure they are not damaged, broken, or missing, and they are the proper color. They should always be red to the rear, amber to the front. If you're asked what the functions of these lights are, you have your brake lights and running lights, your left and right turn signal, your hazard lights, and on this trailer we have clearance lights. That is the end of section C and the outside of the truck.